Some engines weren't just machines, they were moments in time. Born from obsession, built with pride, and killed far too soon. They roared louder than the rules, and even after they disappeared, their echoes never stopped. These are the American engines that should have never been killed. The legends that proved horsepower can outlive history. Pontiac 455 HO, 1971 to 1972. When Pontiac released the 455 HO in 1971, the muscle car era was collapsing under emissions and insurance rules, so Pontiac fought back with intelligence instead of compression. Its modest 8.4:1 ratio hid round port ram air 4 heads, an aluminum intake, and a hot cam that made it feel far stronger than its ratings. Officially, it made 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet, but in real life, the big Firebird Trans Am ran low 14-second quarters, humiliating cars built under looser rules just years before. Forged rods, a high-capacity oil system, and baffled pan let the HO spin safely where other big blocks feared to go. It was thunderous yet refined. Stomp it at 2,500 RPM and it shoved like a freight train, but it still pulled clean past 5,000. Pontiac called it engineering over excuses, and they were right. Even with shrinking compression, the HO proved airflow could beat bureaucracy. Today, true HO 4-speeds are among the most collectible Trans Ams, symbols of a company that refused to give up on muscle when everyone else had. The 455 HO wasn't just fast for its time, it was the spark that kept American horsepower alive when the lights were going out. Few people know Pontiac engineers originally tested the 455 HO at over 370 horsepower, but corporate pressure forced them to publish lower numbers to avoid attention from insurers. Its round port exhaust design was so efficient that it later inspired Pontiac's Super Duty 455 program, the brand's final performance stand in 1973-74, AMC 360, 1970-1991. AMC's 360 was the blue-collar hero, introduced with healthy high-compression 4-barrel tunes, later detuned for decades of duty in Jeeps and full-sizers. Early gross ratings crept into the mid-200s while torque arrived in a hurry, making Javelins lively and Wagoneers unstoppable. The architecture was stout, thick main webs, sensible bore, stroke, and parts interchange with 401 made it a favorite for budget builds. Police matadors, tow rigs, and Forest Service trucks proved its reputation. Durability over drama in the harshest possible use. By the late 70s and 80s, it wore small numbers on paper, but owners knew the truth. The 360 would run forever, ask for oil, and shrug off abuse. It wasn't the loudest or the fastest, but as the last AMC V8 to soldier on into the 1990s, it earned cult status the hard way. Even after AMC died, the 360 kept roaring in Jeeps into the 90s. Ford 302 Boss, 1969 to 1970. The Boss 302 was Ford's street-legal Trans Am weapon, a 5.0-liter V8 built to beat Camaro at its own game. It combined a Windsor short block with Cleveland canted valve heads, a high-rev valve train, 10.5:1 compression, and a hungry 4-barrel for razor-edge throttle response. Rated at 290 horsepower, SAE gross, famously underrated, the real number hovered around 330 to 350 horsepower, with a factory redline that flirted with 7,000 RPM. On track, it delivered. The 1970 Trans Am Championship with Parnelli Jones and Bud Moore's team cemented its legend. The Boss was built for momentum driving, short gears, big lungs, and a scream that said, "Keep your foot in it." Insurance and rule shifts killed it after just 2 model years, making genuine Boss 302s rare and revered. Today, it's worshipped not for brute torque, but for that race-bred, high-rev character, America's small block with a European soul. Chevrolet DZ302, Camaro Z28, 1969, program 1967 to 1969. Built to the SCCA Trans Am 5.0-liter limit, Chevy's 302 mixed a 4.0-inch bore with a 3.0-inch stroke, big lungs, short swing, big revs. The 1969 DZ-coated version is the Halo, 11:1 compression, solid lifters, big port heads, and a Holley 780, rated 290 horsepower but happy past 7,000 revolutions per minute. On road courses, it was a scalpel, trading low-end grunt for corner exit fury and a top-end shriek that made drivers greedy with the throttle. It existed because rules demanded it, and it died when the rules changed. Perfect homologation poetry. Today, the DZ302 stands as the American answer to high-rev European thinking. Take a small block, make it breathe, and let it sing. Chevy engineers underrated it on purpose, claiming 290 horsepower to keep insurance agents calm. Real output was well over 350 horsepower. Today, a DZ302 at full song past 7,000 RPM is still considered one of the purest sounds in American racing history. Chrysler 446-pack, 6-barrel, 1969 to 1971. The 446-pack was Mopar's street sledgehammer. 3 Holley 2 barrels, vacuum-actuated outboards, and a tidal wave of mid-range torque. Rated at 390 horsepower, SAE gross, and approximately 490 pound-feet, it routinely ran neck and neck with Hemis in real-world digs while costing thousands less. A 12 lift-off hood cars came with a fiberglass, pin-on hood, 4.10 Dana 60, and heavy-duty cooling, factory street freaks hiding in plain sight. The genius was simplicity. Small primaries for crisp manners, then the outboard snapped open and the horizon moved toward you. Emissions and insurance crushed it after 1971, but the legend stuck. Poor man's Hemi that wasn't really poor in any race that started at 30 miles per hour. If you wanted maximum shove per dollar in the golden era, 6-pack was the cheat code. GM LT5, Corvette ZR1, 1990 to 1995. GM's LT5 was the moonshot, an all-aluminum DOHC 32-valve 5.7-liter V8 engineered with Lotus and built by Mercury Marine. Early cars made 375 horsepower, later 405 horsepower, with a velvet redline and a unique power key that unlocked the full induction system. In 1990, the ZR1 set a 24-hour speed record averaging nearly 176 miles per hour, proving the LT5 wasn't a dyno diva, it was an endurance monster. Compared with pushrod small blocks, the LT5 felt exotic, glass smooth, eager to rev, and surgically precise in throttle response. Its downfall wasn't performance, it was cost and complexity in a world about to embrace the cheaper, lighter LS1 era. They came from an era when engineers built with passion, not permission. Every bolt, every carb, every red line told the same story: freedom, innovation, and rebellion. Regulations silenced them, but not their legacy, because true power never dies, it just waits for someone bold enough to bring it back.